Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oh, Dr. Wirawani, why are you here?
Why? Because I want to learn from you, Prof.
There's nothing more to learn from me.
There's a lot more to learn from you.
Allahu Akbar. Inshallah, we learn from one another. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Shall we start our session today with Surah Al-Fatihah? Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. Alhamdulillah, and thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. The Center for Professional Development is IIUM Academic Service Unit that promotes and supports teaching and learning. And this year, inshallah, we are going to have more than 50 programs and workshop series. These are part of our effort to oversee the development and management and execution of effective teaching, learning and research in this university. Doctors, brothers and sisters, it is with great pleasure that today we have Prof. Dr. Muhammad Saharuddin as our trainers in this research skill workshop series on questionnaire design and validations. We are glad to have almost 85 participants registered to this workshop. And the objective of this training program are to train participants on how to design quality questionnaires that can be used to measure and perceive impacts of a wide range of research projects. Prof. Dr. Sahari will also share with us how to ensure that the questionnaire we design is consistent and acceptable for its content validity. Therefore, we look forward to a successful training program for the next few hours. And thank you again to all. And I wish you a very successful training course. Since that we have now 19 minutes past 9, without further delay, I would like to pass this session to you, Prof. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you, Madam Dr. Izawati, and thank you, brothers and sisters, for your interest in this topic. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm not sure. I just wish, hope that this session can be recorded, so I can make use of the materials with my master's and doctoral students, inshallah. How to start that? Okay. Okay. Can you hear me and see me now?
Yes, Prof.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Prof.
Okay. I would like to share the screen to give the half an hour an overview of the experience that we are about to go through in this 5 to 6 hour meeting. I'll try to minimize your suffering. I don't want to prolong your negative experience in this workshop. So we'll have quite a number of breaks in between our 4 or 5 hours workshop. Okay, can I share the screen, Dr. Izawati? Okay,
Sure,
it needs to be enabled now.
Okay.
Okay, Prof, you can share the screen now.
Okay, thank you. By the way, if I happen to speak in Malay, because automatically my tongue will go to the Malay language first. Will there be any problem, any difficulty with some of you? Please tell me. Is it okay? Are you going to report me to Datuk Sri Awang Sarian? Then I use Rojak language. No response. Okay, thank you for no response. Now let me start with this First slide. I think the title has been changed by the CPD late yesterday's evening. Is about questionnaire development and validation. Okay, and what we'll cover will be two set of procedural and declarative knowledge on developing questionnaire, and the other one maybe after our break, after our lunch break, validation of the questionnaire. And this the contents. So to develop the questionnaire as an overview, we have to understand the objective of doing that. And then another huge thing which I don't want to underestimate the importance of the fundamentals, because questionnaire is depends on the variable that we intend to measure. So we spend some time reflecting, recalling our mastery of this concept variable. It sounds so basic, but it's very important. And I noticed that quite a big number of my doctoral students seems to get confused when they talk about research objectives, research question, and the variables and the questionnaire, because these are linked. So we spend a few minutes on that. Then finally we'll go to the generic procedure of developing questionnaire. Inshallah, this is what we'll do until our lunch break, and I prepared something for us to work on, because it shouldn't be, this kind of workshop shouldn't be a monologue. We should be interactive, either through passive participation, or you may ask questions, give comments, state your objection to what I'm saying. We have the platform for that in this Zoom. I think we can use the chat box, as well as you can communicate directly in this platform. So these are the three major contents that we will try to revise. Okay, I believe all of you, every one of you, have been creating questionnaires before. So to be honest, I'm scared because there's nothing new that I can share with you. It's just a matter of refreshing or revisiting our practice. Okay, so that's the first thing. Later, I will talk about validation, which is a huge thing. And honestly, I don't feel I'll be doing any justice to you or to myself if I try to go to the very details. So our focus will be the basic, or the first step in doing the validation, that is content related validity, and then some other types of validity, including nomological network. Okay, for the first session, this what we are expecting to master. That is, we are able to identify the objectives of creating or developing our research question, our questionnaire. Why do we need a questionnaire? Why do we need many questions? How are we going to analyze the data? So this that's the expectation, that we will be able to master this learning outcome. Formulate operational definition, if possible, of your study or the study that you intend to do, or the one that you are doing right now. Definition of variables. I keep highlighting the word variables in this workshop, because I think that's the fundamental, that's the building block of a quantitative research, be it a survey or even experimental design. Variable is a thing that we must really digest and be in our system while we are doing the research. And then it is expected that we need to be systematic in developing the questionnaire. So maybe, not maybe, we expect that at the end of the session, you'll be able to figure out or plan a procedure, SOP. Okay, now we are talking about SOP. What does SOP stand for? I cannot remember. SOP.
Standard operating.
Yes, standard operating procedure, which will be defensible. Okay, in your research, and as well as content validate your questionnaire. We are just talking about the plan here to content validate. Later in the after lunch, we'll try to work on this content validation process. Now we just plan for it, and maybe it's a good thing if we can, or if you can share with us your questionnaire, and let's try to find ways how to detect common errors in self-developed questionnaire in particular. So this the learning outcomes expected of us within these couple of hours. So before I start talking about the contents, feel free to ask question now if you have any. I think I have 4 remarks here. Okay, thank you. Good morning. Salam. Okay, no chat. Anything new? Okay. Anything that you like to share before we begin with the first item on the agenda? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
Clear, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
Yes, Prof.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Okay, thank you. Now, actually, I prepared some materials in the this platform, Google Classroom. Let us get there first. I stop this session, this one, and share a new screen with you. That's PowerPoint. Okay. Okay. This the Google Classroom that you may refer to while listening to me. Right now, I have 6 materials, 6 documents posted in this Google Classroom. Number 1, I'm not sure, CPD workshop. That's the PowerPoint. Number 2, the PowerPoint for our evening session. Number 3, just an example of a questionnaire. Number 4, the one article reporting the development and validation of a questionnaire. It is known as quality of index. 8 item quality of index questionnaire. Okay, the interesting point for this number 4 is that they started with 100 items to measure quality of life, which include health and economic well-being and environmental well-being, quality of life. Then they finally ended up with only 8 items after going through the process of validation. And then this one, number 5, we'll use this in the evening. And number 6 is another article on the development and validation of instrument. Okay. If you are interested, can you see the code here? Let me check if I can show this. Okay, that's the Google Classroom code. Can you see it?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, yes, Prof.
Or if not, I'll just enlarge it. That's the largest I can get for you. Okay, thank you. And then I may refer you to some work that we can practice to develop the skill. Classwork here. Okay, I think I have 3 tasks for us to do in today. You are encouraged to attempt these 3 tasks. We'll talk about it as time passes by. Okay. Okay, I'm happy to see you too, but I cannot see you, unfortunately. All right. Okay, let me stop this and get back to our session proper. Share screen, PowerPoint. Okay, it's here. Okay. Now, we have talked about the objectives of this, the contents of this workshop. That's number 1, 2 major contents. And then we try to see if we can achieve these learning outcomes. Now, let's get to the first one. Whatever we do, we must have we must know our niat. That's what it means by identifying your objectives. So basically, I'm just going to give what I think about the objectives of using a questionnaire in research. At least there are 4 objectives which will dictate, which will define, which will assist us in formulating the questionnaire. So we have to understand our objective then. Most of the time, the questionnaire related objectives is about the how we are going to use the data that we collect from the questionnaire. That's the first question we have to ask. Maybe you can start even a more basic question. Why do we need a questionnaire? Okay, put it in a different way. How are we going to use the data? How are we going to analyze the data? What kind of report about the data that we are going to submit to our audience, to our stakeholder? Okay, that we have to be very clear on that. The objectives of using the questionnaire relate to how the data will be analyzed and used. So to some extent, how is the data going to be collected? From my reading, at least there are 4 questionnaire-related objectives. Okay, number 1, to establish the prevalence of, the incidence of something, the incidence of a phenomenon, the occurrence of something which we are interested to find out. For instance, we want to know about certain facts. Okay, we want to get certain information, okay, which are useful and important, so that we can act on that once we have the results of the data. We may use just a sample. That's what a survey is all about. Or we can conduct census to collect the data. Okay, and then the second one will be psychosocial, psychological, economical variables, and or construct. Okay, this so we have to understand that we can use questionnaire to estimate parameters to talk about what is the reality out there in the population on something that is critical to us. That's one reason. Okay, this will tell us what kind of questions to be included in our questionnaire. How many questions to be included in order to answer to address our objective. Okay, that's why it is important, because it will tell us, is one question enough, or do we need more than 3 or 4 questions for that particular objective? for one particular research question. That's one. Number two, which is an increasing, there's an increasing interest in this right now in IIUM, to create index or scale. And then we need a questionnaire again. Okay. Number three is our fundamental work, our fundamental research. When we want to test theory or we want to generate new theories, then we need to know that reason. We have to really understand that's the reason why we want to collect data using questionnaire, and that will inform us the type of items and even the format of the item, the structure of the item to be asked in our questionnaire. Later on, it facilitates analysis and it will generate the results that we look for. And the highest level, not the highest level, another very, very technical and very is kind of specialization. That is to create psychometrically sound measure, sound instrument, just like the Big Five instrument, or anxiety scale, or some clinical measure. Okay, so these are the each of these will dictate how and what the questionnaire should look like. Okay, before I open up for question on this, just one thing. A lot of studies that we do may just need to for us to find out about facts and information. This may include studies on related to need analysis or the incidence of certain clinical problems. What else? Even auditing, when we want to audit something, is some kind of fact findings. Okay, when it is to be aggregated into a scale, it means that we are trying to measure a construct. We are trying to operationalize something abstract, concepts and construct, each of which having blurred, the definition of each is blurred at the edges. So we have to spend more time in creating the construct. Similarly with theory testing and theory generating. Okay, any question? Let me see reaction from you here, chat. Cannot access. Okay, I will get back to that afterward. Sorry, can I get the link for attendance? I don't know, maybe Dr. Izawati can answer that. Anything else?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please. May I know who's online?
This is Hamza.
Oh, Prof. Hamza. Yeah, yeah. How are you, Prof. Hamza?
Good, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm
scared now.
novice in this. I just want to make sure for this questionnaire, if the questionnaire only covers objective 1 and objective 2 in the 4 bullets here, would that be okay? Meaning we are not testing any theory or the last.
Yes, especially when you already have in your hand a validated questionnaire. We don't really have to create a new instrument. Sometimes people said we are reinventing the wheel. If there's already a well-established instrument which has been tested by previous research, then by all means we can use that if it's sufficient to fulfill our objectives. If there's something new, then we have to consider whether there's a need to content validate before we use it for theory testing or even create psychometrically sound to be aggregated into scale. I don't know, Prof. Did I answer your question?
50%, yes.
Okay, which part that I missed? If I don't have the answer now, I'll look forward. I'll try to find out and get back to you. Which one that I didn't answer?
Basically, I'm trying to supervise a student that will do a research based on questionnaire, and that's why I want to ensure that I got this right. Of course, my background is normally using experimental lab work, not questionnaire. So that's why, as I said, I'm learning whether the advice that I'm going to give to the student is the correct one or not.
Right. So you mentioned something about the objectives of the four listed objectives of creating the questionnaire. I missed that part maybe.
Yeah, for example, if you want just to know what is the likelihood of one particular food product over another. So,
all right. Okay. Your answer will be addressed when we go to the next agenda that is on variable.
okay,
So
thank you.
when you mention about the purchase intention or attitudes towards a certain product, we are talking about not just measuring something which is straightforward. It's something quite abstract. Attitudes and purchase intention. These are abstract psychological, psychosocial construct. So we may have to look at it differently. So we will talk more about that later on, whether how to measure those kind of things. But when we are just measuring, yes, auditing work, for instance, in your case, Prof. Hamzah, from what I can understand, you want to see whether a company is applying a specific SOP in producing halal product, for instance. Okay, the criteria are very clear, so that we can just create simple checklists or indicators, just like what the auditors do all the time, to measure the presence of that quality in their practice in the company's production line, whether they have the quality that you are interested in. So it will detect particularly or specifically how many items do you need. Can you just ask one question to get your research question answered, or do you need a set of questions in order to get valid data? So that's why I presented this first, because I want to make sure that we understand. We have to consider the objectives, and we have to know within the objectives the nature of the variable that we are measuring. Okay, I'll try to get back to this with your situation just now, Prof. Once we get to the second agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question?
Dear Prof, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Who's
I'm
online,
Yusuf.
please?
I am Yusuf from Kuliah of Allied Health Sciences.
Yes, doctor.
Okay, I'm just to confirm, because let's say if you want to assess rejection or acceptance of public of a certain theory, for example. So
Again, I cannot hear you clearly.
can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's say if I want to assess certain acceptance or rejection towards a certain theory, so among the public, so it is part of the theory testing and information as well, right?
It can be that we can have all these four in one study, or we can just focus just on one of these four items. So, however, in the context of your variable just now, you mentioned the word acceptance or rejections towards something, right? That is a psychological construct. The definition of acceptance, what it means by acceptance, is not that clear. Okay, it's unlike whether, whether, for instance, whether or not people buy or not buying certain things. It's very clear. Okay, it's not intention, it's not acceptance, it's not adoption. It's whether they buy or they didn't buy. So it's dichotomous in nature, whether they are going to fall sick or stay healthy. It's dichotomous, and the way to measure it will be different. Okay, so maybe this will be further clarified once we get to the second agenda about the variable, because all these things depends on the variable, the nature of variable that you have in that you are going to measure. Okay, Professor.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very good answer, mashallah. Just a side note, Prof, if possible, I just want to know, let's say if we translate the questionnaire, do we need to validate again? Or when we modify a certain questionnaire, just a small modification, we still need to validate again?
Okay, translation, yes, it's a good practice to document the translation validity. Okay, we are not covering here translation validity of the instrument. There are several techniques, and the most popular one is known as back translation. Okay, that's the most widely used technique to translate. Now, if you with the second one, if we modify, so long is not more than 30% modification, then I think we can in the field of this work, it is acceptable. But if it is the modification involves a substantive change to the meaning of that variable, then we have to, for instance, if we started with 10 questions or 10 items measuring one particular thing, measuring one construct, then we change, add 4 new items. We delete 4 old items and add 4 new items. Since it's more than 30%, then we may have to do some assessment of validity, at least to check on the reliability. Okay, reliability is the basic thing about validity. So that's my response to the 2 questions, Professor. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Now let's get to the second point. Now I mentioned about we need to understand the objective of creating the instrument, or now we come to the new thing, the objective of modifying an instrument. If it is substantive, then we it is advisable. By the way, validity is not a dichotomous phenomenon. An instrument, the quality or the validity of an instrument can be positioned along a continuum, high validity to low validity. So there's no one perfect instrument, except the one that we cannot even understand, the one created by Allah. That's definitely perfect, but we can always tear to pieces any existing instrument. Okay, we can hardly be perfect. After all, people in statistics, they claim that they are different from mathematicians. Okay, statisticians are humble people. They always say that mathematics is deterministic, while statistics is probabilistic. We always attach possibility of errors to our measure, to our data. So, what we are supposed to do is trying to do the best. Okay, let me get to the second slide now. These are just some example. Okay, for the first one, prevalence of malaria. Okay, just an example here. Now, look at the objective of the study. The aim of the study was to determine the prevalence. Straightforward. Okay, so we can just go and around in Sabah. Okay, just ask one question. Have you ever been, or are you, or we can test their blood and check the incidence of prevalence, either to a sample of Sabahan or just or to everybody in Sabah. Then we'll get the answer. That's the example of the first one, the first objective. The second objective, this happened in, I think this one in late last year. There was a company creating national worry index, creating index. And they use, since the intention was to create an index, they have on national worry. Okay, that's the variable on worry index. So they cannot just ask one question. Similarly, if you ask about if our research intends to seek the or create index on IIUM staff satisfaction, we cannot just, it's not justifiable just to ask, are you happy or not? Are you worried or not? Are you satisfied or not? Because the term worry, satisfaction, these are loaded with many indicators. Okay, and the next one, okay, that's what they found in year 2020, quarter 3. The worry index was 0.787. Okay, this is the theory testing, fundamental research. Okay, we create questionnaire for fundamental research. Actually, it's about the study examine teachers' general satisfaction and specific satisfaction in implementing assessment policy. This for school teachers. But there are many circles here. Okay, the two biggest circle policy, and there's a link there towards general satisfaction. Okay, normally we can, in most studies, most questionnaire they develop, they can only measure this link, whether certain policy influence satisfaction or affect or determines level of satisfaction, or on these 4 small specific aspects of satisfaction. But for this kind of this theoretical study, which is quantitative in nature, they use many questionnaire, many items to measure each of these. Okay, if we have the chance, I can further explain because this is a new statistical tools. They call it bi-factor modeling to validate the questionnaire as well as to answer the the theoretical questions, the theories being posted in the study. Okay, this is the last one about creating psychometric results, psychometrically sound result. Actually, the word psychometric can be confusing because when the Ministry of Education used the term psychometric measure in order to get new teachers. The word psychometric to me simply means the validity and reliability of the questionnaire. Okay, so this study is about just testing the validity and reliability of the questionnaire, so that they can submit for patent, and they can commercialize this instrument if the psychometric properties are sound, good, of results, a cross-cultural study. I'm not sure. I think it involves 16 countries in Europe. Look at the objective here. Oops. The aim, the one I highlighted down here, the aim of the current study was to test the psychometric properties of the EuroHIS quality of life 8-item index. Okay, so that's the reason for creating this questionnaire, so that determines the type of items, the number of items, the way it is to be analyzed, and the validation process of the question. So it's all about validation. Okay. Can we start with something on your side now? Let's reflect and put it in writing. If you can briefly state the topic of your quantitative study, or identify the objectives or the research question of your study, and then tell us, okay, in writing, how are you going to use the data or analyze the data. Okay, it is in Google Classroom just now. Let's get back to Google Classroom. Where is it? Where's my Google? Okay, here. Where is the Google Classroom? Okay, yeah. Okay, I think Dr. Yusof, you didn't get the code just now, right? Here, let me give you the code number again. Okay, so let's spend about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I give you 10 minutes to perform task number 1. Okay, you can write in the comment box, or you can attach the answer. Okay, 10 minutes, please. So we'll discuss your response and see the objectives of the of having your questionnaire, of creating a questionnaire for your study. Hello, are you still here?
Yes, Prof. Yes, Prof.
Do you have any question you want to work it on your own right now? You can, if it's in a face-to-face session, I can have this perform in small groups. Just choose one topic, but now maybe you have to try on your own and see whether you can relate your intention to create a questionnaire with the objectives with the objective of your study.
Evaluation is analysis of medical studies.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
What?
Hello, Prof.
Hold on. I'm trying to get my. Okay, I'm not sure how to do it. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes, doctor.
I just want to inform that I cannot enter the GC
Oh,
using the code that you've given, but based on the check here, somebody said that I need to enter using non-IIUM account. So I'm trying right now.
okay. It must be you must have a Google account. IIM account is a Google account. Supposed to be okay, but I'm not sure because that's not something that I'm familiar with either.
Oh, because many of us cannot enter using
Yes, yes,
IIUM account. Yeah, I tried
I
to.
noticed that. Maybe you just try to give your response in this chat box.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome.
To clearly express. To clearly express. Okay. Skills to clearly express.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof.
Okay,
Waalaikumsalam.
we have enough. I mean, for to initiate our thoughts here. Can we start with Brother Adli Muhammad? Okay, Brother Adli, Dr. Adli. So, issues and challenges in teaching Arabic during RTL. Okay, issues and challenges. Okay, so you are going to use a questionnaire. Am I right, Dr. Muhammad Adli?
Yes, here I am.
Good, good.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah. So issues in teaching Arabic, challenges in teaching Arabic, or you can just use consider issues and challenges as one thing in teaching Arabic. To study issues, to list down. All right. Now, if we look at this, what can we say about the objective of your study here? Is it? Let me see. Let me see. Is it to get facts, to understand the phenomenon, or is it to test theories, or is it to create an index? What exactly is the purpose? That's what you have to decide now. Or is it to test theories? I don't see theories in this unless you consider measurement of this as a theory. Measurement of issue and challenges is theory-driven phenomenon. Unless you consider that, then it's not a theory testing research here. Is fundamental, but it's not testing or generating new theories unless you really create a questionnaire. So this, yes.
If I say I'm doing this for to know challenges faced by students, can it be like that?
Okay.
Just to know their
objective number 3, right? List on all possible issues. Okay, I think that's fine. So we need a questionnaire, and the questionnaire should ask many questions on the possible issues and challenges. So at least you are quite clear. You just want to list down and look at the incidents or the occurrence of issues. Okay, so that's clear. The objective is very clear here. Can we get to another one? Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let me get to another one here. I don't know how to move this. Okay. Dr. Amal GH. Is it General Hospital, Doctor? Islamic mental health issues. Islamic mental health issues. So this the variable that you are going to measure. Analyzing interpretation of Al-Quran, analyzing and interpretation of Al-Quran, and quantitative analysis. I'm not sure about number 3, but number 1, what do you intend to do with this objective? Are you going to try to recall the 4 objectives that we have discussed earlier? The 4 separate objectives to measure the prevalence of something, or is it to test a theory, or is it to so what I can see here is just the title, not really the it's just the variable Islamic mental health issue, but what exactly the things that you are going to do with this, with the data that you are going to collect? Dr. Amal, can you share with us? Dr. Amal, are you around? No. Then we skip Dr. Amal. We'll go to Dr. Azura. Dr. Azura, are you from Kuliah of Economics?
No, Prof. I am from Kuliah Applied Health Science.
Oh, okay, okay. I know one, Dr. Azura. We want practice. Okay. Whether they comply. Okay. How would you classify this? And the purpose or the objective of creating a questionnaire for this topic. Okay. Develop questionnaire first. Okay. Awareness and practice. Again, this is basically trying to the awareness can simply be the facts that you want to find out, the prevalence of these halal slaughtering techniques, the awareness, and the practice, yes, again the fact. So you're not going to create any theoretical framework unless it's a measurement, the measurement of practice or awareness.
Yes, correct, Prof.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
We'll
you.
proceed from the variable that you have here later on. So you'll make it clearer once we understand the variable that you're having here. Okay, Dr. Habibah. Let me see some example here. Evaluate effectiveness, readiness, consumption of internet data by students. Okay, effectiveness of internet data, that's one. Readiness of internet data, that's another one. Consumption of internet data, three. Okay, effective. Okay, so here it sounds something like an intervention study and experimental design, maybe. So that's fine. It's theoretical in nature. It's fundamental research to me. Do you agree, Dr. Habibah?
Yes, yes, Prof.
Yeah, it's fundamental research. Okay, thank you.
Prof.
Yes.
During if let's say I would like to build the questionnaire, is it okay for me to ask a direct question? I mean, how do you rate your data consumption? Rate from 1 up to 5.
Okay.
How do you feel the effectiveness? Are you satisfied? Is it okay to ask question directly according to the verbs that we use in our title or objective?
When you use the term direct question, do you mean that just one question?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk more about that immediately after this. Okay, it's about the meaning of effectiveness of internet data, consumption of internet data. What do you really mean by that? Okay, we'll talk a bit more on that, and then you can decide whether you can ask direct question or you need a set of items or questions to check on that. Okay, let me see. Dr. Nisa, am I right? Yes, Dr. Nisa Tukiran. Dr. Nisa, effectiveness of parent implemented language intervention. Okay, again, it sounds it's a fundamental research, theory testing research, theory generating research. Am I right, Dr. Nur Hanisa?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, so your questionnaire will be about effectiveness of this treatment, right? Parent implemented language intervention.
Yeah.
Okay. To change. Okay, I am not sure about this. Okay, thank you. So is the purpose of creating the questionnaire is to test a theory. You have a theory behind this, of course. You believe that parents' perception of their roles and speech, language, pathology roles will influence students' outcomes, right? So yes, you need the questionnaire for that, theory testing reason. And Dr. Fairuz, let me see the impact of apply or flip. Okay, the impact on satisfaction. First, the classroom to in fulfilling students' basic psychological needs. Okay, and all right, I think it's really theory testing.
Theory
Research.
testing, yeah. All right.
Theory testing.
But
Okay.
but Prof, I'm not sure whether I have too many construct here to test.
We have to know the many other variables that influence the critical mass of your study. At one look, is there's a lot of things here,
Yeah.
but maybe it's not a short-term kind of research. Maybe it's a 1 or 2 years study, which
Okay.
can cover all the variables. It
All
depends
right.
a lot, okay,
All right.
on the other parameters as well.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. Dr. Intan, maybe we have 1 or 2 more. Okay, no files attached. Dr. Nur Ismas. Dr. Nur Ismas. Couldn't, okay, I don't know why I cannot view this. Dr. Nur Ismas, I'm sorry. Maybe one last one. Okay, Dr. Norani. Readiness of quantitative surveying. Okay, to adopt. All right. This is a survey. So you want to find out about readiness. If it is not related to, for instance, Chepnik's. Okay, one person who been writing a lot on readiness, Chepnik's model. Then it is not a theoretical. Maybe you just want to find out about, let's see, to identify criteria. Oh, the second one, to identify the criteria for the assessment. Okay, okay. Number one sounds to me like a qualitative study. However, it can, if you can do some sort of systematic review of the literature, then you may be able to quantitatively identify the criteria and the measurement scale. Okay.
Yes, Prof. Actually, okay, first of all, my name is Siti Nora. Norani Mak Yusof is actually my mom's Gmail account.
Oh, okay. You're using your mom's account? Wow.
Yes, yes.
Your mom must be very advanced.
Okay, so for the first objective there, I intend to do the SLR. Is this only is this enough for the identification of the criteria, or I need to go for data collection to have that criteria obtained from the respondents?
Okay, if you just use the first objective to identify the criteria, what I can think right now is that you don't need to conduct a survey. So you don't need a questionnaire. It is your decision, okay? Whether you want to go beyond just identifying the criteria, which the entailments will be collecting data, analyzing the data using the questionnaire, or you can create a questionnaire to survey the literature.
Oh, okay.
Okay, still a questionnaire which can be quantified if you can have some categories of common responses, then you can quantify that. Quantitative survey, but definitely number one here doesn't need for you to create a questionnaire for respondent, for people to give their answers.
Okay,
so
so I
it's
can
your
just
decision.
construct that from LR. Yes.
Yes, from systematic review, or even, I'm not sure in this field, do you have enough studies that to enable you to conduct meta-analysis? I'm not sure.
Yeah, there are some theories on readiness for organizations readiness that I can use actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay, I think that's enough for a start, this is what we especially for high stake research, big research, high impact research, we need to spend time trying to understand the objective of having a questionnaire, which is predetermined by the objectives, the research questions of the study. That's the first thing. Once we are clear that it is just to measure something, then we can decide how many questions do we need. But if the objective is at the other end, a very extreme demand on the questionnaire, that is, you must produce, you want to produce highly what's the word, valid instrument that you can sell, other people can use, we can commercialize that instrument, then the demand will be more on the number of items and the types of item, and even defining the item, the variable. Okay, now I'm going to proceed with the second, the third agenda of this morning discussion. That is about variables. Let me see. Stop sharing here. Do you need to take a break? It's already 10:30. Hello, children. You need
No,
to
Prof.
take,
I mean, I think we are fine.
you can have your coffee
Okay.
while listening to me, right?
We're good, Prof. Thank you.
That's right, Prof. We can have
Okay.
coffee.
Okay, now let me
Really
share.
enjoying this. Thanks.
Okay, this screen again. Okay, okay, we are done with that. Yeah, we have some discussion on that. I don't know how can I squeeze this to the other end. Okay. Okay, this is the building block of our questionnaire. Once we know the objective, then we have to decide the variable to be measured. And it is a good practice to formulate the operational definition of the variable that we are going to measure. One useful technique to make sure that we get our readers, or even journal editors, to understand our research easily, so that we can, I think, can publish it more acceptable to the publisher, is to have this technique. Our research questions or research objectives must clearly contain the variable. Okay, it must be very clear about the variables that we are measuring. So I've been telling my students, they ask questions, but their questions do not contain measurable, observable, testable questions. So that's the fundamental thing about variable. It must be there from the onset, based on the objectives of the study. Okay, so let's try this. You can, if you cannot see this clearly, you can check this example in the Google Classroom. I have this in the Google Classroom. Now, this is a simple questionnaire, not that many items. Okay, so maybe we start asking you some question. Where is it now? Okay, when we create a questionnaire, we have to ask ourselves this question: what is the purpose of this questionnaire? Okay, that's question number one. It's given there at the head, at the top. Survey of Malaysian teachers. I can be more specific. Survey of Malaysian teachers job satisfaction. Okay, It's useful to be specific, but not too specific. Now, looking at this questionnaire, we should be able to know our variable. Okay, this is the end product of the exercise we are doing today. So, someone who read our questionnaire should be able to tell us, or you as the researcher should be able to inform your audience how many variables do we have here. How many variables do we have in this questionnaire, the one-page questionnaire? Okay, no response. One ringgit?
One.
Yes. 2 ringgit? 3 ringgit? 10 ringgit?
12.
Yes.
12 variables.
Okay, let me see. Where's the chat box? It's now gone. Somebody. Okay. 12. Okay, good. Where do you get 12? Can you tell me? How do you get 12?
Each item is a variable?
Each item is a variable. Okay, okay. So we have 12 items here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is what we really have to understand, because I can see some of my colleagues or professors, they are not aware of the salient or the implicit signals given by the questionnaire to him. Okay, so we have to be 12 is correct, but not perfect. Okay, not a perfect answer. Okay, quite numbers tell me 4. What are the 4 variables? Let me.
Workload, pay, professional growth, and collegiality.
Okay, workload, pay, professional growth. Good, good. Almost there, but not there yet. Any other response? Any other, either instead of 12, 4?
18.
18. Where do you get 18 now?
The
12.
section A?
Section A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 12, 18. Okay, thank you. You're almost there. 13. Okay, good, 13. If you ask me, there are many variables here actually. We have 6 up here, section A. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then these 6 variables are observed or observable. Okay, measurable variables, because the respondent can check whether he or she is a male or a female. So we can observe, we can analyze. Okay, that's observed variable. It's very important to understand that. And we have another 12 observed variable down here. 12 plus 6, 18. Yeah, almost correct. But we have other variables as well. Some of you were right when you mentioned workload 1, 2, professional growth 3, collegiality 4. Then we have 6 plus 12, 18, plus 4, 22 variables. We have 22 variables in this questionnaire. Do you agree?
How come 22, Prof?
Okay, up here, section A, you were right when you mentioned there are 6 variables here. Gender, ethnic, school name, location, age, and subject. 6 variables. Okay, 6 observed variables. Section B, we have 12 observed variables. Okay, you know the 12 observed variables? Do you understand me?
Yes.
Yes.
We have 16, right? I'm sorry. It's not 22. It's 20. Apart from the 12 observed variable, In section B, we have 4 unobserved latent variables. Okay, the 4 latent variables which the students are or the respondents are not supposed to check anything. Just a title there, but it's still a variable. So how many? 18, 12 plus 6, 18. Correct, 22. So 22. Do you understand now?
Yes.
Is it right?
Just now,
Double
is
error.
called what?
Please again.
The
Yes,
4
Prof.
variable, workload, pay, professional growth, and collegiate. What kind of variable that is, Prof?
Unobserved variable, because we cannot observe the response. You see, under 1, 2, 3, 4 agreement scale there, the values to be the categories of response. Nobody will supposed to take that. So we cannot see the workload response is unobserved variable, but it's there because it's being manifested by the 3 items under that: teaching load, class size, administrative, all related to the unobserved variable of workload. This is the critical thing that many of us miss. In research, we are not really interested in each of these items, teaching load, class size. No, we are more interested in the unobserved variable. That's the theory. The observed variable, okay, loaded on the observed variable, meaning that the workload, unobserved variable, okay, being represented, being manifested in the respondent's reaction to the observed variable. In some people, in some studies, I noticed that they get a score. Finally, after all, everybody have completed the questionnaire, written back to the researcher. What they did is just to get a summated score for the 3 items under workload and get a summated score for workload. So workload is not really directly observed. It's been indirectly observed through its manifestation, the manifest variable, teaching load, class size, administrative. And in research, in our research objective, we are not asking these specific items. The question don't contain specific variable. It's contain what are teachers' perception towards workload, not what are teachers' perception towards teaching load, not the observed variable. This one distinct thing that we have to be familiar with, or not to be confused with it, confused with. So how many variables do we have in this questionnaire?
22.
Wrong. It's not 22. Dr. Wira, not 22. I told you many times, Dr. Wira. Dr. Wira was in my class before, so I can bully her a bit now. I'm sorry, Dr. Wira. It's not 22.
Okay.
It's 4, Prof, the latent variable.
What's that?
4, only the latent variables.
No, there are 23 variables. I mean, there are not 22 variables. The latent variables or the unobserved variable, you're right, there are 4. But the total number of variables actually is 23. Where did I get the other one? 23. Okay, 10 ringgit. Who get the correct answer will get the money. 15 ringgit.
The agreement?
No, that's the values. That's a variable is anything with 2 or more values.
Satisfaction, Prof.
Yeah?
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Alhamdulillah. Almost correct. Overall satisfaction.
Session B title.
Yes, the title. Teacher's job satisfaction. That's another latent variable. So in this study, in this survey, in this questionnaire, actually we have 5 latent variables and 12 plus 6 up there, observed variables. However, in developing the research questions, most of the time we are only interested in latent variables apart from the demographic. I hope that makes sense to you.
Yes, Prof. Yep. Thank you.
Yes, Prof. Prof, can I ask a question? This is Intan from Julia.
I don't know why I can. Hold on, I'm trying to read chat, but I cannot. No, it doesn't appear. Okay, yes, doctor, please.
Okay. Is it necessary to have same number of items for each latent variable? For example, the workload has 3, the P also has 3, and then professional growth also has 3 items under them. Is that how you organize our questionnaire?
Okay. When you plan the questionnaire, develop the questionnaire, it's good for us as the researcher because we are getting older or getting younger every day. It's good for us to have organize it properly. Okay, so that we can always check our what we've been thinking at the beginning. But when we finalize the questionnaire and administer that to our respondent, we can just use this one here without any heading or subheading. They don't need to know that. They don't need to understand what it means by variable.
Okay.
Okay, so it can be even ordered jumble up. You don't need categories. But the good practice for statistical analysis, the reason being due to the way people think when they respond, to get consistency of the responses, it's good to cluster the items under one construct or under one underlying factor together. For instance, teaching load, class size, all this about teaching about workload. Put them together so that people will have easier time to think and give the correct response.
Okay. Then how do we decide these are the 3?
Okay. These 3 is the final product of about 60, 70 items. That's how we started. We have a lot of items, and Prof. Hamza can testify to this. In one study that we are working, I cannot share that study now because I need to get the permission from Prof. Hamza and the rest. In one study, we started with just one subconstruct. We have up to 50 items. And then after doing a series of pilot testing, then we end up with, now we force ourselves to have just 50 items. And we can further reduce that, if possible, to the level where the quality of life 8-item index. If we can have 8-item index, that will be very, that can be an achievement from what we are doing right now. But this one, 12 seems to be profound enough. By the way, I've shared with you the report on this in the Google Classroom. If you want to see how my group that work on this reported the psychometric properties of this instrument, then you can check on that theory testing article.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Yes, Dr. Romzi.
Romzi here. First of all, thank you very much. What I asked, maybe you will cover later, but maybe I just highlight some of. Is it possible now?
Yes, please. Okay. In case I forget afterward.
Okay, for example, about observable and unobservable is okay. This is about the scale on the questionnaire.
The scale.
The scale. Okay, some I do understand the scale that you have here. Agreement scale, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Correct.
Okay. Some of the I just share some issues lah. I think because I'm also new here. So for example, on the coding, sometimes there's for example, Hare mentioned when a Likert scale is perceived as symmetric and equidistant, it will behave more like an interval scale. So it can be used in SEM later on. So
but not to the purists of statistician, not to the statistician.
Okay, so yes. So in the case later when we develop the questionnaire, this is very important. Because sometimes examiner will look at the questionnaire For example, in your example, because there is a column agreement scale, there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some can argue it is an ordinal. This is just the and then they suggest that to have sometimes when we use like when we look at the questionnaire, we can see number 1 they put strongly disagree, number 5 straight away strongly agree without the column, and sometimes they put a line arrow to show the equidistant.
Yes.
The argument is to have this as an interval. Even though for me, like a layman, when I see the questionnaire, my mind still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hope Prof can brief on that later. Thank you, Prof.
Sure, maybe I respond because I've been thinking about that before I plan for this presentation. Okay. About this, number one, this interval versus ordinal scale is when we use a Likert scale item such as agreement scale. It's been more than 100 years debate on that. Okay, but to the people who really talk about the scaling of a variable, they never consider Likert scale. Even they give a new name, pseudo interval. Okay, variable for Likert scale. They never consider it as truly interval scale because it doesn't have the basic properties that define scale, that is we have equal interval. However, there are techniques, okay, statistical techniques to address the issue, which I'll talk later. Okay, that can convert ordinal scale for each item to interval variable defensibly. Okay, taking into account the difficulty of the item to be endorsed and the ability of the student or the respondents to endorse. So it comes to two things, not just what being observed here, but the things behind this, that is item difficulty and student ability. That's one of the ways to address that. Another common way, especially my students in economics, they've been telling me, my professors tell me it's okay to get summated score. Summated score is more than 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Strongly disagree to strongly agree. That's adequate when you sum up the total score or get the mean score for that construct. What I mean to say here is that, let's say I'm responding to this questionnaire. Okay. And for the first 3 items, my responses are 5, 5, 5. So the summated score for me, my score will be 15. 15 is more than 5, so should be, considered as a summated score. To many, people, it's acceptable. But there are people who don't buy that idea. Still, still ordinal scale. Another way, apart from the first one that I've told you just now, the two methods, summated score or mean score, that's one, and then convert that, taking into account the difficulty and of the item and student ability. Another technique, which is also defensible, will be the use of factor score. Okay, that's beyond the scope of our discussion. The techniques of how to convert scaling from ordinal to interval, we are not going to cover now. Maybe Prof. Nodida, she's an expert in those techniques. She can share that with you later on, inshallah. Okay, Dr. Romzi.
Thank you, Prof. Just very fast. Another issue maybe you can highlight, because for this is development of questionnaire, also about the points. Some argue 5, 7, and 10. Maybe you can advise on that.
Okay.
From what I understand, okay, from statistician, I'm not statistician lah, but statistician views, if you use 10, it's more variety, so you can adopt. That's kind of thing.
Itu sebab dia nak cakap tentang interval variable tu lah.
Oh, okay.
Ada variation.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you.
Itu pun dah lama. Itu sebabnya kita kena start at the onset tadi, kita kena start how the data will be used. Kalau kita nak buat index, okay, the data to be analyzed and to be reported as the results of our study should be converted from ordinal to interval scale. That's the first thing. So untuk buat tu pula, which technique will be the best? Ada yang kata lagi banyak lagi bagus. But kalau nak buat index, the cutting edge technique right now, IRT, item response theory, or this rush modeling, dia ada problem pula kalau terlampau banyak terlampau banyak response point tu. So all those things hanya kita boleh tentukan dalam masa kita set the objective of creating the questionnaire.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Means we need to look at the objective first. Thank you, Prof.
Yes, bila objektif tu clear, kita nak buat scaling. Bila nak buat scaling, the next answer will be the best method is rush model, katakan. That's what you decide. Bila rush model, 4 pun dah banyak dah dia punya respon. Okay, ada orang kata mesti tak ada mesti even numbers of categories of response. But argument tu dah banyak. But you have to answer it according to the objective of you doing the research.
To understand the importance of referencing in academic writing to demonstrate.
Somebody is asking me something I cannot hear. I'm sorry. Siapa tu? Dr. Shakira kah?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's okay, Prof. Now.
Okay. So itulah question yang kita kena faham apabila students, terutamanya student lah, tunjukkan kita questionnaire, tanya dia berapa variable dalam questionnaire ni, berapa observable variable, more importantly, berapa unobserved variables. Adakah unobserved variable ni the one that being used in the research questions? Kalau tidak, maknanya mungkin tak ada kaitan. Research question tanya lain, apa ni tanya lain. Okey, tadi ada doktor tanya saya, kenapa 3 item, kenapa tak 4, kenapa tak 5? Ini jawapannya daripada statistiknya. Apabila kita buat pilot testing, we find that 3 ni good enough. In fact, that's the minimum. For each unobserved variable, the minimum that we must have is 3 items. Ini kalau pakai classical testing theory. Kalau pakai rush model, dia kata 2 pun dah cukup. Ya, itu yang dia punya relationshipnya. So long you know why you are doing, so long you can cite this is acceptable in the field, I think people will accept. Sebab there's no perfection. Tak ada yang the ideal yang boleh capai. Ini adalah yang terbaik dalam keadaan yang kita mampu. So not only thinking about what's the best, think also what's the best given the constraint that we are facing. Okay, jadi kalau saya nak buat research question, dah ada questionnaire, senanglah saya cari apa unobserved variable, that will be the variables in my research question. Tadi macam yang Ustaz tanya, nak apa ni, challenges and issues in teaching Arabic ke, kalau saya tak silap tadi. Jadi kalau macam inilah yang kita kena listkan. Mungkin daripada kita punya bacaan, daripada questionnaire orang lain, kita boleh pilih, listkan semua issues, semua challenges. Kalau dapat list tu pula, kita identify the underlying variable. Mungkin apa ni, challenges dari segi the curriculum, challenges dari segi the teacher, challenges dari segi home environment yang tak apa ni. Jadi itu dia yang teacher, curriculum, home environment, itu semua can be the latent variable or can be others related to your theory. Okay, now we have to operationalize it. Yeah.
Prof,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
I'm Hanisa. I would like to ask whether if let's say we have less than 3 items under one variable, should we actually remove the variable from the questionnaire?
Okay, kalau you are using rush model, you can retain 2 variables. Sebab mengikut rush, 2 variables is adequate to talk about a component in a unidimensional measurement. Tapi kalau pakai lain daripada that, especially kalau pakai the what they call confirmatory factor analysis, exploratory factor analysis to get your result, then I think tawakal aja lah, ikutlah. Sebab saya pernah publish in a good journal a measure yang ada 2 variable, dia accept pula. So saya diam je lah. I know the business. Yeah, dia accept, dia publish, so alhamdulillah. But don't boast about your finding. Daripada situ kita nampak 2 item ni tak cukup to talk about a latent variable, to talk about a construct. Okay, one thing yang saya selalu cuba dalam kelas and with very interesting result. Can I try it here? What time is it now? Oh, baru pukul 11. Okay, we have a lot of time. Now, let me try this. Apa saya nak tanya tadi tentang, I think it's about what's the difference between concept, construct, and variable? After looking at this questionnaire, can you tell me yang mana satu variable, yang mana satu construct, yang mana satu concept? Hello, senyap sepi semua.
Honestly, tak tahu, Prof.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Saya pun tak tahu. Don't worry. Saya pun tak really tahu apa the difference.
Is construct similar to variable?
Boleh tak kita katakan construct similar to variable? Teaching load ni variable ke construct? Teaching load, tengok ni. Bawah workload, teaching load. Ni construct ke variable?
Variable.
Teaching load is a variable.
Variable.
It's item.
Each item is a variable. How about workload?
Yeah.
Workload ni apa?
Workload is a construct.
Not a variable? Construct not a variable?
The construct on
Construct is a variable.
Construct.
Construct from.
Okay.
Inside the construct we have an item.
Okay, it's good. Nanti kalau student tanya, nanti kita ada lah benda kita nak jawab. Okay, apa pula konsep? Itu benda yang berkaitan. Variable, construct and concept. Selalunya ini yang saya gunakan untuk my master dengan doctoral student bila dia nak kenal variable. Sebab saya always spend quite a lot of time on variable sampailah dia orang boleh define operational definition. Okay. Dr. Zul Mariam, I think we met before, right? Dr. Zul Mariam Ambong, are you here around?
Yes, I am your student, Prof.
Tak boleh tanya, dia dah tahu trik saya. Dr. Shakira, you are not my student, right?
No, Prof.
Nah, Dr. Shakira pun tak ada lah. Siapa yang ada lagi sini? Let me check. Saja nak tanya. Dr. Habibah, are you around?
Prof. Yes, Prof. I'm here. By the way, I'm not doctor, Prof. I'm from CFS.
Assalamualaikum. It seems like Prof is not around. Maybe he has some difficulties with his internet connection, I think. Because I cannot find him anymore. We just wait for a while, yeah? Thank you. We are trying to get him now. InsyaAllah.
Students understand.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
I don't know, my connection, I don't know, broken somehow. Okay, tadi apa tadi? I was trying to ask Prof. Rohaya, are you here?
But lagging, Prof.
Yes, Prof.
Okay.
Not yet, Prof.
Dr. Yusof.
Yes, I'm here, Prof.
Dr. Yusof, are you Dr. Yusof? Okay, tak apa. Prof. Rohaya, I just want to ask one stupid question, if you don't mind giving your honest response to me. Ini apply to everybody. I'm asking everybody, tapi Dr. Prof. Rohaya yang jadi mangsa saya now. Boleh tak Prof. Rohaya?
Oh, berdebar saya ni. I'll try to answer.
Okay, ni tak ada soalan kedai kopi je ni. Okay, my question is, what is your religion?
Islam.
Do I have to ask you another question to verify that?
No.
Good, thank you. What is your level of religiosity?
That is quite abstract.
Now you hit the target. Okay, that's the difference between a variable and observed variable, something that we can measure clearly, directly, without being concerned. I may be religious in this, but not in that, maybe in this and not in that, something abstract. Okay, that is a construct. And if we intend to measure that, it's a construct. Otherwise, it's a concept. An attempt to measure that, a plan to measure that, using questionnaire, using indirect statement or direct manifestation of that variable is a construct. So a construct is a variable too, tapi at a higher abstraction. That's what I understand. Yeah, I might be wrong, tapi bila kita sebut Variable biasanya dia cover tiga-tiga konsep pun variable, construct pun variable, observe variable dalam questionnaire pun variable. Cuma at what level of measurement that apa ni. Jadi yang kita selalu buat dalam research question kita adalah construct. Dan construct tak boleh ditanya dengan satu soalan macam saya tanya Prof. Rohaya tadi. We cannot ask one question, that's silly of us. Walaupun zaman-zaman purba dulu orang nak tanya tentang job satisfaction, they just ask one question. Are you satisfied with your job? Just one question. But there are many things about satisfaction or job satisfaction for that matter, which may be relatively independent, even though they are related indicators of job satisfaction. Okay, thank you. Yes, Brother Muhammad, Dr. Muhammad Alwi.
I just want to ask, construct and domain, is it the same thing?
What's that? Construct and
domain.
Ya. Sebenarnya perkataan itu satu lagi ya. Saya rasa orang statistik ni tak begitu bijak macam orang matematik. Jadi dia nak tunjukkan dia bijak, dia confusekan orang dengan macam-macam jargon. Ya. Construct satu, factor, domain, apa lagi, component, underlying dimension, traits, latent variable. Itu yang saya boleh terfikir sekarang. Banyak lagi. Ada lagi yang apa ni, endogenous variable, exogenous variable. Jadi benda tu walaupun ada dia punya apa ni, fine line differences between among the term, tapi basically is apa ni, unobserved variable. Semua yang tak cannot be observed directly. Kena tanya banyak soalan barulah kita boleh buat apa ni, pengukuran, measurement about the levels or the quality of that phenomenon.
So is that mean that construct is unobserved variable?
Yes. But it can be observed. But however indirectly. Macam tadi contohnya workload tadi kan, dia unobserved variable, tapi can be observed using the 3 items. Baru kita boleh estimate or predict dia punya value.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Welcome. Okay, ada soalan lain? Nanti saya tengok kita ada task tak berkaitan dengan ni. Let me please enable my sharing. Dr. Izawati, are you still there? Yeah.
How about concept, Prof? Can you elaborate more on?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you.
I have activated, Prof.
Yeah, thank you. Let me see if I... Now saya dah sampai sini. Jadi now let me go to the next one. How to operationalize a variable. Apabila kita nak create questionnaire, this is the first task, operationalize the variable. Kita ada objektif tadi, kemudian kita tahu kita punya variable, unobserved variable in particular. So the variable here basically refer to unobserved variable. Bila kita dah ada tu, then we have to put it in writing, maybe tentatively at the onset, kena tentatively the meaning of that variable, the core meaning, and we may even have to contextualize that meaning. What I'm trying to say is that try to relate that to the context, the people that we are going to survey, the measurement or the scale, macam yang disebut tadi Likert scale, and categories of responses. Jadi contoh teacher job satisfaction tadi saya cuba definekan in this manner. In this study, that's contextualization. Job satisfaction refers to teachers. That's contextualization again. Feelings, that's the meaning, the core meaning. Feelings. Ada tiga benda yang kita, at least tiga benda yang menunjukkan apa ni this performance, performance of meaning. Feelings, beliefs, okay, beliefs, feelings, knowledge. Take note of knowledge sebab dia ada apa ni sikit tu. Okay, again, beliefs, feelings, the affective domain, knowledge, apa lagi, and amal, the practice. Okay, so the meaning must contain this. The meaning, the core meaning should contain the performance attribute of what we are measuring. Sama ada feeling, okay, ataupun beliefs, knowledge. Ini mengikut Imam Al-Ghazali ya. Mesti ada knowledge, mesti ada cult, dan mesti ada amal. Dalam definition must be somewhere to be inserted in the definition of contentment with their workload, pay, professional growth, and relationship with co-workers. This again the meaning. Satisfaction towards workload, satisfaction towards pay, satisfaction to growth and relationship. So that's the first one. We must have the meaning, the context, and then decide on the measurement. Bagus decide awal-awal ya. Measurement ni kalau nak pakai yang biasa Likert scale, agreement scale. Kalau amal tu lebih banyak sesuai pakai the amalan, the performance pakai di frequency scale. Kemudian ada lagi, nanti kita tengok kejap lagi ya. The measurement scale and decide berapa. The best practice is that within one construct we have a common scale. Kalau pakai Likert scale 5 point of responses, semua item bawah tu gunakan that scale. Ini untuk construct. Ingat kenapa banyak item? Kerana it's a construct. We cannot measure a construct using just one item. It's not it's neither reliable, let alone valid. Okay, kita buat sikit lagi exercise based on what you have shared earlier. Based on one of your research questions, state the core meaning of the variable. Identify your respondents. Contextualization. Select measurement scale of the responses. Kalau dah ada, just share with us. So you can put it here in chat box, or let's go to Google Classroom now. Let me see, ada soalan agaknya. Knowledge, feelings, practice, yes. Adab, amal. Okay. Construct and observe, but observe. Perception. Okay, Dr. Husaimi, I don't understand this. Are you trying to share something here? Dr. Husaini bin Jamil.
Yes.
Yeah. Ni ada formula science ni. What do you mean by this?
No, just writing some notes.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then, by the way, Dr. Izawati, is this session
Professor?
Yeah.
This knowledge, feelings, and practice, is it the same that we can learn from KAP?
What's that?
The KAP model, knowledge, attitude, and practice.
Yeah. Attitude tu about the affective domain.
Yes.
Ada yang includekan even another one, motivation.
Yeah.
Ini orang psikologi dia faham sangatlah benda ni. Macam kita bukan psychologist ni, we learn from them, but the structure already there, the human functioning in the 3 domains. Yeah.
So is it the same?
Yeah, tadi saya mention about knowledge kan.
Yes.
Knowledge, kalau kita betul-betul nak measure objective knowledge, right or wrong for instance, okay, facts. They call it objective knowledge. We cannot use questionnaire. Itu another thing. We shouldn't ever use questionnaire. Bila nak test objective knowledge, we use test. Macam kita punya classroom test lah. That's measuring objective knowledge. Knowledge yang can be measured using a questionnaire is a special form of knowledge. There is awareness, that's knowledge too, the lowest form of knowledge, or subjective knowledge. Subjective knowledge means self-reported. Hold on, there's some noise outside. I have to check. Okay, they're quiet already. The subjective knowledge means a self-reported, a self-confessed level of knowing, that level of being able to do something subjectively. Jadi yang ini boleh pakai boleh gunakan questionnaire. Contoh yang dalam kita punya student bila dia apply nak join UIA, we ask them, what's your level of mastery in English, Arabic? That is subjective knowledge. Can be asked through, the information can be collected using questionnaire. Okay, hold on just 1 minute. I have to check that they are not making any noise out there. Just one. Okay, any new message here? Perceptions, okay. Perception is a kind of cognition too. It involves more than just knowledge. It may include, interact with the affective attributes. Okay, let me see another question here. Questionnaire is a special form of knowledge, awareness, extra, and subjective knowledge. Master. Okay, thank you. Now let's get to Google Classroom again and try to give your response to this for the next 10 minutes. 10 minit lama sangat ke kejap sangat? Masih ada?
Just nice good.
Okay, just 10 minutes.
Nice.
You can take your get your coffee as well within the next 10 minutes. So let me.
Prof. So we start at 11:30, right?
Okay, we can start at 11:30. Ada bantahan? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. No bantahan. So 11:30 will start.
Okay, 11:30 then.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
You're still here.
Salam, Prof.
Boleh kita sambung?
Yes.
Nanti
Boleh,
saya lupa apa ni assignment ni all about. Okay, state meaning. Okay. Sekarang kita cuba apa ni share the okay, the task ya. Dr. Azura, boleh saya tengok your work here?
Ya, boleh, Prof.
Okay. What is the level of awareness? Okay. To measure condition, status, condition, knowledge, yeah? Okay.
Yes.
The work. All right. Level to assess how they apply. Okay, they apply, yeah? They apply their knowledge. Meaning practice, practice and level of knowledge. Okay, respondent, there's a contact. Okay, very good. Thank you. You have anything to ask, Dr. Azura?
No at the moment. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you. Kita pergi to the next one. Dr. Adli. Student core-meaning. Okay. You are yet to tell us about the meaning of student readiness ni, Dr. Muhammad Adli, ya. What does it mean? Readiness ni dia kalau from apa ni? A state or condition of not only effective, it's effective psychologically, is effective the meaning. Yang ni kadang-kadang tak semua orang tahu sebab you are the expert, so you have to identify the performance type, effective predisposition, as well as the knowledge, the competency should be part of the definition. The knowledge, technological competency ke ataupun teknik, technological because it's RTL, technological readiness, psychological readiness, and then maybe something to do with what else? The environmental support as well, the readiness. But since you are talking about apa ni? About challenges ni, so it's okay lah, readiness ni. Internet connection, the issues, the device, home family condition. Okay, thank you. So you have to put that in a statement, formulate the core meaning. And the context will be students taking Arabic. 1 to 5 ni apa dia ni? Likert scale ya? Dr. Muhammad. Okay.
Yes.
Any question, Dr. Muhammad Adli? Adli Muhammad, sorry.
Muhammad Adli actually. To Adli Muhammad is.
Okay. Do you have anything to ask me?
Actually a lot, but I'm still figure it out. But for now, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now let's check another one, Dr. Habibah. Dr. Habibah. Okay, based on internet data consumption, Telegram, this the contents. But I think you use the word apa ni effectiveness tadi kan? So what does it mean by effectiveness in the context of human dimension tadi tu, knowledge, feelings, and amal and practice. How do you relate that to this content? These are the contents. effectiveness of consumption. Consumption maybe is quite useful here. This word, it relates to the use of internet data. But is it about their feelings or their awareness or their knowledge? That's what you mean by effectiveness of this internet data. So that's what you have to be to add on to this. Not only the contents, but also the performance, the human performance of the given by the respondent. Okay, students. All right. So excellent. It relates to apa ni ya? Cuma satu. Which one are you going to use for number 3? Measurement scale. Poor to excellent. Strongly agree. You have to select only one set of categories of responses, and then use throughout the items. So the items, the way you word the items should be aligned to the scaling. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Habibah. Thank you.
So means that is only one scale only, Prof. Is it correct?
Kalau you ada subdimension, you can use different scales. Maybe for one dimension, agreement scale. For another one, maybe yang you pakai ni from poor to excellence. Tapi within that subdimension, you should use the same scale and the same number of responses, categories of responses. Jangan ada satu dichotomous, satu. Yang itu kalau kita just to verify the prevalence of that variable. Tapi kalau nak pakai dia as a construct, then we have to use common scale. Saya dengar. Again, please. I cannot hear you.
Is it clear now?
Hello.
Is it clear now? Yeah.
Yes. Now okay.
Okay. If let's say for internet data consumption, saya ada beberapa items. So means that for all items in consumption, I have to use the same scale. Am I right?
Yes, if that's your variable, if that's the variable in your research question is data consumption, not the individual variable. Okay, so you have to use common scale for all the items. But you are going to report data consumption, not the specific behavior of consuming the data. Itulah balik semula pada objektif tadi. That's why we have to really understand what's the objective of this questionnaire. Nak report specific variable ataupun construct. So ini relate pada your research question, research objectives.
Saya punya aim actually nak tahu students punya level of satisfaction, whether the pre-recorded video are effective for them or not.
Now you have to be very clear. Is it satisfaction or is it perceived effectiveness? You are talking about perceived effectiveness here. So which one are you going to really measure and analyze and report? Yang itu kena very clear tu. But yang itu akan determine ni. Boleh tak dalam satu set of items yang kita kata bawah consumption tapi ada different scaling, that one will set. Ada masanya kita nak dua-dua. Kita nak pakai individual items in each construct, dan kita juga nak pakai the construct punya score. Maknanya kita nak report nanti, analyze and report descriptively individual item as well as the construct. Kalau macam tu, oleh kerana ada nak report construct ada di situ, so the scaling must be the same. Kalau tidak nanti the meaning of the construct will be contaminated. Macam mana nak define? Kalau satu yes, no, satu lagi agree, disagree, satu lagi satisfied, not satisfied, 5 Likert scale. Jadi the meaning of that construct, bukan variable, construct will be difficult to make sense.
Right. Understand. Thank you.
Dr. Habibah, okay?
Okay. Understand. Thank you, Prof.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Kita pergi to the next one. Dr. Adli, Dr. Azura, Habibah, Dr. Fairuz. Saya tengok yang atas ni lah. Ya, kita tak cukup masa. Okay, ini apa ni? Basic psychological need. Okay, teori dia. Okay, learning engagement. Okay, ini betul-betul define according to self. Okay, basic psychology. Okay, innate needs. Okay, of the human being. The need for autonomy, competence, relatedness. Alright. Feelings. Yeah. Ini dia punya performance. Feelings. Affective domain. The cog. Okay, is the origin. Perceived effectiveness. Alright. Okay, I think this is dah advanced lah ni. Definition of construct ni. Okay, any question, Dr. Fairuz?
Cuma nak tanya Prof, when about the items, because dalam tu when I want to have the items tu dalam ni I have like the dimensions of engagement ataupun dimension of yang atas tadi tu yang can you go back to the top?
Yeah. Okay.
So for example, we have dimensions like
autonomy.
Autonomy. These are the within the construct of apa nama tu, dia ada basic psychologically we have this 1, 2, 3 autonomy kan. Tapi in autonomy itself ada lagi yang kecil-kecil tu. So that is considered as apa, dimensions ke?
Yang tu sub construct atau sub dimension.
Construct dimension.
Even autonomy ni pun bila sebut psychological needs, yang ni saya tak berapa pasti macam mana nak classifykan, to be honest. Ini dah higher level, higher apa ni, abstraction, psychological needs. And then you have the sub-construct. One of the sub-constructs is autonomy.
Okay.
Needs construct lah. And then bawah tu you ada lagi sub-construct lagi. I don't know what term to be used. Unless you want to start naming your construct not psychological need tapi autonomy. Autonomy is the primary construct or the first the second order factor.
Second order factor.
Second order factor. The first order factor will be apa benda bawah ni. Kalau ada 3 ke 4 lagi sub construct, then the second order factor. I mean sorry, order factor.
Again Prof, the third apa?
Autonomy ni kalau you pakai dalam idea yang kita faham tadi ni adalah the second order factor.
Second order factor, okay.
Okay, dan di bawahnya ada first order factor, itu yang sub dia tu.
First order factor.
But honestly, I'm not, I cannot say for sure cut across research sebab it depends on the measurement model yang you ada tu, sama ada dia ada berapa level daripada yang paling tinggi, kemudian construct, sub-construct, bawah tu apa benda lagi.
Okay Prof, if I were to choose this autonomy sebagai second level construct tadi kan, so
yes.
in the title, in my title, should I put this autonomy need for computer, need for readiness ataupun basic psychological needs?
Psychological need pun dah okay dah.
Dah okay dah.
Dah okay. That's the concept lah. Psychological need.
Alright.
Yeah. Learning engagement ni quite clear.
Okay.
Okay, Doktor.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Okay, satu lagi ya. Before we move to our last
Prof, may I suggest you choose yang bawah-bawah sebab ni rasanya ikut alphabetical order ni.
Oh, okay, marah dah.
Tak fair orang yang bawah-bawah.
Okay, Pink Panther. Let's check our Mr. or Mrs. Pink Panther. I don't know. Ada tak sini?
Ada Prof, nama saya Suhana.
Okay, Dr. Sohana. Okay. Assessing levels of satisfaction. Okay, ada dua construct sini yang saya nampak from the title. Satisfaction and security. Yeah. Among okay to assess satisfied with the cost taken, confident. Okay. Dia punya meaning feelings. Okay, satisfaction feeling. Confident pun feeling, tapi ada juga confident ni relate to dia punya apa ni tak, dia punya knowledge, dia punya dia punya confident ni dalam istilah yang banyak dia pakai dalam psikologi lah. Dia pakai self efficacy, self efficacy. Self efficacy ni not just feeling but also motivation, which is determined by one's knowledge about oneself.
Okay.
Confident ni jarang dah orang pakai dalam research lah, dalam psikologi dia banyak pakai self efficacy, kadang-kadang self esteem.
Okay, noted. Thank you, Prof.
Okay, so that those are the comments that you should have in your not just feeling but also dia punya self efficacy, motivation, that's maybe related. Satisfaction senang aja. Satisfaction to the cost.
Okay. Can you comments on my measurement skill? I mean, perhaps
measurement ordinal,
such as
okay, sebab you nanti nak assess whether apa ni kan, pakai ordinal pun tak apa sebab you are having construct which after doing your pilot test, this ordinal data can be checked if you can use the interval scale later on. So you can have just one score for variable and maybe a few scores for sub-dimension of confidence. Ya.
Okay.
Maknanya okey lah ni. Cuma kena ingat balik semula, setiap satu variable ni, setiap satu construct ni should have at least three items lah, 3 indicators in your questionnaire. Lagi banyak kalau tak ada, tapi ini banyak ni, satisfaction punya instrument banyak sangat. What you can do is adapt satisfaction instrument, student satisfaction instrument in other fields and fit that into your context. Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually my first time, so I totally have no idea. But thank you so much for your feedback, Prof.
Yeah. Itulah tengok dulu. Saya selalu bagi tahu, especially master student kan. Yang ni kadang-kadang ambitious sangat. Dia fikir, dia berhasrat, berhajat, berniat besar nak change the world melalui dia punya master thesis. Jadi saya kata tak payahlah buat macam tu dulu. Untuk master thesis, master ni the hallmark is that you should be able to demonstrate your ability to conduct research independently. Bukannya nak even add some new knowledge pun. Jadi oleh kerana itu benchmark untuk master thesis, there isn't a need for you to create new instrument. Pakai aja instrument yang dah ada. Don't waste your life. Unless you are really good, unless you are really memang dah skillful lah dalam research. You've been working with research company ke apa ke. Then you can start looking at all those heavy stuff related to instrument development. Kalau master, eloknya cari instrument dulu baru create research question. Bila tengok aja instrument, I've been teaching them this trick. Tengok research instrument, okay, study the research instrument, understand the research instrument the way we discussed just now, then you can create 5-10 research questions. Tengok tadi je lah. 12 item tu ada 5 construct. At least ada 5 research question dah. Okay, questions on prevalence of something, on incidence of job satisfaction in different apa ni. And they boleh go one step beyond that. The causality of satisfaction, the causes of satisfaction or the outcome of satisfaction. Iaitu dah at least another 5. So berapa banyak research question untuk master thesis? 3 dah cukup dah. So I've been advising them since this is your first trial and getting yourself doing scientific inquiry, if we can call it scientific, don't hurt your brain. It's different with PhD. PhD memang pun tajuk dia pun PhD permanent head damage. Memang pun kena buat yang susah sikit. Tapi master cuba tunjukkan yang you can do research on your own. Okay, Dr. Pink Panther.
Dr. Suhana, Prof.
Suhana, okay, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay.
my personal Gmail.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the feedback.
Okay, thank you. Now let's get to another one, the last one. Bawah-bawah lagi. Siapa nak dipanggil namanya?
Mine please. Mine.
Yang mana?
Norani Muhammad Yusof.
Ini mana?
N.
Ada tak? Ada. Norani Muhammad Yusof. Okay, di bawah ni tak ada lah. Ini saya tak tahu. Ini rasanya bahasa Russian ni. Bukan ni ya?
Oh, not that one. I've submitted, but I don't know. Maybe something is wrong there. Maybe. Okay, never mind.
Tak ada lah. Tak ada. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay, sorry.
Ke you submit dalam apa ni? Dalam Google Chat no? Dalam Zoom chat bukan ya?
No.
Okay. Okay, I think now we are moving.
That is not, it's a Greek, Hussaini.
Hussaini.
The Greek one, not the Russian.
You want us to check on that?
Yeah.
Dr. Hussaini, where are you?
The one with the Greek spelling. Yes.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Dr. Hussaini. Ini tulisan apa ni, Dr. Hussaini? Russian?
Greek.
What?
Greek.
Oh, okay. InsyaAllah. Okay, nothing. No file attached. You put it. Okay, here. Ada di sini ya. Variable of choice challenges could contain learning anxiety. Okay, anxiety is feeling. There's a performance, lack of proper learning experience, language. Ini apa tajuknya tadi ya? Saya tak ingat. Tajuknya tentang apa tadi, Doktor?
That is not mine.
Okay. Kalau tajuknya tentang challenges, issues, ini nampak kontennya ni adalah ya. Learning anxiety ni performance-nya. Content and performance. Dalam setiap apa ni macam yang saya tunjukkan contoh tadi, dalam setiap definition of term perlu ada dua benda tu. The content and the performance. Performance tu yang tiga tu. Apa ni the beliefs, related things, knowledge. Satu lagi boleh tambah effective apa ni punya elements and practice. Ya, itu yang kena ada. Lack of language skill, this still form performance, limited meta language to operate and understand term, quantitative, poor teaching. These are all the contents. Ya. Lack of quality, semua content yang merupakan masalah. I'm pretty sure all these and more can be recognized and grouped properly. Haven't thought of it. Okay, good. You have the contents. You are yet to consider the performance. Is it about their apa ni feelings of all these problem? Are these really problematic to them? What have been listed? So it's about a feeling, or is it about their awareness or knowledge, or is it about they have problem in practicing because of these contents. Okay, Dr. Hussaini, I think...
No, that is not mine. I'm not sure this who is Zorine. Zorine.
Bukan you suruh saya tengok you punya tadi?
Yeah, but this is another person.
Alright. So I think the definition is okay on one component, that is the problems, the issues, the challenges. That's the content. But the performance of the respondents, itu yang tak ada lagi di sini. Tell him that, yeah.
Prof, just now when you scroll, I've seen mine to Norani Muhammad Yusof.
Okay.
If you could open that.
Kadang-kadang dia di sini ni.
Just now I've seen. I think you need to scroll the main page.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Which one?
The third row.
Third row.
That one. Norani Muhammad Yusof. This one. Up here, up a little bit here.
Okay.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, you're welcome. Readiness again. It can be psychological, which is mainly about not the brain, not the cognition, but about the feelings, the affective thing. Readiness.
But this one, I want to measure not based on feelings, but based on what they have at the moment.
I see. So it's not psychological readiness. It's the here current state of ability to drop. I think this is the maybe readiness apa ni? Dia kalau ikut Chepnik tu individual, tapi ni organization.
Organization.
Okay, maybe organization. Mungkin you can check in the literature organizational readiness. Can they have a special term for that? Based on equipment. Okay. All right. Okay, so the context will be representative. The respondent will be representative from quantitative survey punya firms, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So for from literature, there are actually 4 variables to measure the readiness, but for this research, I just want to measure 2.
Now, let me get back to the basic yang tadi, yang mula-mula kita tengok, ya. What's the purpose of this study, the objective? I understand you've stated the objective, tapi how are you going to use the data? How are you going to analyze the data? Then it will tell us more about the adequacy of our operational definition. Let me ask you this: data ni digunakan untuk audit ataupun untuk theory testing ataupun untuk create readiness index? What exactly are you going to use the data yang you collect from at least 100 firms?
Maybe the readiness index.
Readiness index.
How far they able, so far what they have at the moment, and how can they adopt?
Alright. Jadi contohnya macam the equipment, software ni, knowledge and skill. Mana these are the contents of that index, right?
Yes.
Knowledge readiness, skill readiness of the people, kan?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I want to make sure that you think of all those things.
Okay.
And bila kita katakan ni semua the components, okay, the unobserved variables of that scale, meaning that you need more than 3 items. Kalau pilot banyak pun tak apa, sampai 10 item untuk satu sub-construct ni pun boleh.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you. Now, can we go to the last thing that I have for now?
So may I ask a question?
Yes, please, Doctor.
Can we use questionnaire for need analysis?
For what?
Need analysis, the need for something.
Need analysis?
Yes.
Yes, that's the first objective, need analysis.
Okay.
Trying to establish facts For instance, I don't know whether CPD did this before having this topic. Have they conducted need analysis on the need for a course or a workshop on questionnaire development? So that's trying to capture, trying to collect facts. So it should use questionnaire as at least one of the instruments. Yeah, Doctor?
Thank you.
Okay, mana saya nak pergi tadi ni? Okay, I want to share new screen. Okay. Nampak skrin saya, kita dah buat ni, kita dah buat exercise ni. And now we come to the last point. The overview of the procedure we have discussed. And now we just give an overview within the next 15 to 30 minutes. Ada satu soalan sini. Prof, can you provide one to example of content versus performance? Okay, okay, saya jawab ni dulu Cuba kalau kita tengok balik semula definition tadi, contoh definition tadi. Oh no. Okay, here. Tengok definition ya. Core meaning about job performance ni adalah apa ni? Okay, contoh yang paling senang, semua orang buat benda ni ya. When we conduct a test untuk student kita, ya, katalah topiknya apa topik yang semua orang tahu agaknya. Katalah topiknya test tu on apa ni, descriptive statistic. Okay, descriptive statistic ni kalau saya tak silap yang paling penting ialah the meaning of apa ni, mean score, standard deviation, range, itu semua tu descriptive statistic. Kemudian apa ni, frequency distribution, percentage distribution. Tu we are giving a test on achievement. Okay, and the contents of the achievement test, kalau dalam keadaan kita sekarang kita buat contents of a questionnaire. The contents of achievement test will be the specific topics in specific content dalam topik descriptive statistic. Okay, that's the content. Some people call it as content standard. At the same time, the performance must be measured as well and stated as in the definition of term. That is, what kind of performance, what level of performance? Is it just to know, dia tahu atau tidak apa makna mean score? Can he master the understanding? Can he apply? This is the performance level. Okay, sampai can he create and work in collaboration? That's the highest level of using descriptive statistics. That's the performance. Jadi dalam achievement test, it's an instrument to measure knowledge. Dia ada content dan dia ada performance level. Similarly, in defining a variable, we should start thinking, we must think of the contents. Kalau dalam contohnya, ialah satisfaction of contentment with workload, pay, professional growth, and relationship. This is the content. Mungkin hanya ada satu. Saya sini ada 4, sebab ada 4 dimension. Saya ada 4 dimension. Jadi saya ada 4 content area of job satisfaction. Ataupun kalau tak ada benda ni, hanya contentment towards dia job. That's the content. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. And then the performance refers to teacher's feelings. That's the performance. Of course, dalam achievement test kita tak measure feeling. Tapi dalam questionnaire, we can measure feeling. We can measure self-reported practices, higher level than achievement test punya performance. So, Doctor, that's what I mean by your operational definition should include the contents of that term, okay, as well as the performance. Macam tadi itulah, adakah dia setakat ilmu dan juga ya, amal dan amal. Must be clear. Sebab dalam ilmu tu pun ada subjective knowledge, ada awareness. Dalam yang tengah-tengah tu yang affective domain tu lagi macam-macam. Motivation pun ada yang masukkan di situ. Engagement mungkin practice. So this the thing that we have to decide or formulate masa kita buat definition of term, and this will guide us in creating the items. Jadi items dia taklah hanya pada knowledge. Kalau kita punya definition termasuk practice, mesti ada saya sentiasa buat this thing. Mesti ada yang tu. I think you don't understand me. Don't worry, because most of the time I don't understand myself. Oh, I lost my voice. Okay. Okay. Sekarang dengar tak?
Okay. Prof. Thanks very much.
My last statement tadi, don't worry if you don't understand me. Sebab saya pun selalu tak understand myself, especially what I'm talking. So don't worry about not getting what I'm trying to tell you. Just ask me to repeat. Inshallah, I'll try to put in different words. Okay, Prof is so funny. I'm not funny. I'm funny. Okay, never mind. Okay. Now, let's get to the.
Thank you very much, Prof.
You're welcome. Let's get to the last point here. Okay, the generic procedure. Okay, basically dia macam step lah, tapi dia tak semestinya linear progression. It can be eclectic in nature. You can be at the top and then you go down. Itu yang saya ajar my student. Duduk di atas sekali, kemudian baru turun ke bawah. Satu-satu naik balik. It doesn't have to be linear progression of activities or planning. To create a questionnaire. Okay. Tapi yang umumnya ini caranya. Kena ada research question. Dan kena tahu yang kita sebut tadilah. How will the data be analyzed and used? Identify and define the variables. We've just done that. Identify your construct, define your construct, or you are not interested in using construct, you just want to focus on variable, be it, do things accordingly. Create items. Okay, create item. Items ni must be aligned with the definition and also align with the context and align with the responses. Kita dah buat yang the theoretical part 1 dengan 2, the first 2 step. Yang 3 step ni is the doing of it, that is creating items, contextualizing the items, and fix the response categories. Finally, format and review. Okay, yang ini bagusnya buat sendiri-sendiri ya, jangan ada gangguan. Jadi you can think clearly. Kalau dalam group nak buat sendiri-sendiri dulu. Each of you create several items. Don't discuss every item that you have at the same time. It will be confusing. Then after that baru boleh mergekan and then evaluate, format and review. Some do's and don'ts. Be brief. The rule of thumb is don't do this. Don't make the questionnaire, don't create a questionnaire in such a way that it will consume more than 30 minutes of your respondent's lifetime. Anything more than 30 minutes should be compensated, kena bayar. But it's not fair for the respondents to do your work and spending their is cost opportunity. In economics they use the term cost opportunity cost or cost opportunity, I cannot remember. Be direct mean ask a question directly, make it simple. The language should be the simplest possible, which is a very difficult thing to do. To me, this is one of the most difficult things, to make people understand what you state as an item or what you ask as a question is very difficult. Biasanya sebagai orang yang ada experience juga buat questionnaire ni, I find myself in the state of shock sendiri. Rasanya dah terror sangat, dah bagus sangat dah question ni. Kalau tak faham saja je lah. Memang ramai yang tak faham if I straight away administer the questionnaire. Ask only one question at a time. Ini student banyak problem ni. Dia ada teori dia kata, contohnya tadilah faktor guru mempengaruhi mastery of Arabic. Teachers influence, itu dia punya topik, ya, dia punya research question maybe. Jadi dalam questionnaire pun dia tanya the same thing. Your teachers poor use of modern technology, okay, influence your poor performance atau influence your academic performance. That is not asking one question at a time. Yeah, but you asking for causality. Dalam setiap section hanya tanya tentang satu variable sahaja, not dua variable. That is, kalau contoh ni tadi, teachers punya competency, or lecturers punya competency dengan performance, student performance. Two different things cannot be asked in one construct. Just ask about that construct. Kalau contoh apa ni tadi agak clear, contoh job satisfaction. Just ask about workload, not workload and maybe drop I cannot remember the term now. Maybe on well-being. Jangan ada dalam satu item dua variables, even though it's causal in nature. However, you can still have two, but yang the second one though, the one not about the variable, macam well-being tadi, naikkan as the stem. Okay, keadaan kesejahteraan anda, your well-being, basically being driven by baru the item, the variable related to the construct, teaching load, pay and apa lagi tu. So ask only one question at a time. Banyak student PhD yang kita tengok dia akan cuba tanya the research question dalam questionnaire, which is not right. Focus on one variable in each item. Group, ini dah tanya tadi, group similar questions together. Use a common scale for each construct. Match items, ini kena check ya. Item tu dengan response tu. Kalau agreement, item tu mestilah berkaitan dengan agreement. Make it looks professional. Ini satu. Even a native speaker also kena hantar proofread. Jadi janganlah malu. In fact, it's a professional activity. Get someone to read and give honest, sincere feedback to what we have written. So we have to avoid rasa malu atau ego besar. We have to avoid that. That's not professional. Because our work can be improved with a second opinion. The don'ts. Elakkan daripada jargon acronyms. Avoid having jargons and acronyms. Apa ni, orang-orang sains ni bila tengok tajuk research pun dah tak faham dah. Sebab dia punya simbol-simbol tu. Loaded, leading, biased questions. Double barrel question. Ini senang nak check. Boleh check. Bila satu statement tu ada somewhere in that statement or item the word and, A-N-D. Read again. Adakah these two things different? Kalau different memanglah double barrel. Mungkin triple barrel pun. Use of absolute superlatives. I always, I never, I strongly agree. Dah ada dalam STEM, ada juga pada apa ni, that is apa ni, absolute. Use of negative question wording. Ini boleh, tapi bukan untuk testing the construct. You may have negatively worded items. Ini tujuannya untuk sebagai lie detector. Boleh kita ada satu dua negative items dalam our questionnaire. Semua positif, masuk satu dua negative item. Tapi bukan untuk, it's not good kalau kita masukkan dia sebagai construct. Sebab biasanya they don't work properly. Hypothetical question. Sekiranya anda kaya atau sekiranya anda PM, are you going to do this, the following, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is hypothetical question. Assuming prior knowledge. Ini ada satu dulu, profesornya sangat terkenal jugalah, tapi nasib tak baik saya kena apa ni, jadi examiner. Student tu tanya dalam questionnaire dia something yang hanya dia dan profesor dia tahu saja. It's about some curriculum. Kalau sekarang ni kita sebut sejahtera curriculum. Dulu ada satu, apa curriculum. Hanya dia dua orang aja tahu, and dia tanya beratus orang student yang tak pernah dengar pun. So it's not going to give us good data. Overlapping, unclear response scale. Strongly disagree, somewhat disagree, agree, sometimes disagree, strongly agree. Overlapping lah tu. Tak clear. Forcing respondents to answer all question. Even though kita pakai Google Form, kita boleh suruh dia jawab semua, yang ini tak digalakkan. Let me check chats. Alhamdulillah, at least ada someone enjoy my monologue. Susah, student saya boleh saya cakap semua tidur. Okay, thank you for that kind words. Okay.
Excuse me, Prof. Can I ask question?
Please, may I know who's online? Salina ya? Ini Salina RMC dulu ke?
Oh, I am Siti Nora from K8.
Oh, okay.
No, this is Salina, Prof. Now I'm with CPD. I was with RMC.
Okay. Yes. Ingat Salina tu. Yes.
Prof.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay. My first question. When you think suitable for us to use open-ended question for questionnaire?
Open-ended question.
Yeah, because
okay,
if we use open-ended,
kalau really, you tengoklah dalam psychological bulletin ke dalam apa ni yang well established punya apa ni, punya research that create high quality instrument. Dia orang tak ada open-ended. Semua very brief scale, macam apa ni, macam even motivation punya skill semua close-ended. The reason bukan apa, the reason is dia facilitate analysis and conclusion, results yang kita nak conclude. Dia facilitate that. It doesn't mean salah, it's not wrong. Tapi dia the suggestion is kalau nak masukkan janganlah banyak. 1, 2 pun dah cukup kalau nak masukkan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, itu satu. Yang kedua, apa ni, bila kita punya objective of the study is to establish theory. We cannot mix the two things. kalau nak test theory quantitatively, we have to use structured items. I mean structured response punya item. Kalau untuk master dengan PhD, there's nothing wrong sebab itu untuk yang subjektif tu untuk internal consumption. Tapi still kalau nak really develop psychometrically sound scale, there's no need for open-ended scales. But it's theory driven. Yang open-ended item ni biasanya to dig, to explore. That's for exploratory, yeah. That's the word, exploratory phenomenon yang kita tak tahu lagi.
Okay.
My thinking is that it depends on the objective of your research. Kalau betul-betul nak buat theoretical but quantitative punya hypothesis testing, there's no need for
Okay, usually I use open-ended question for questionnaire when I am not sure myself whether the variables I got from the literature is enough to answer the objective. So that's why I asked whether the respondent have got other variables based on their practice or
boleh
not.
lah, kalau macam tu boleh. But I'd like to suggest a better solution, which pernah juga lah involved dengan this better solution. You nak create questionnaire, you don't have enough information from the literature. That's what you mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of the best technique is to do that first. Okay. Try to go native, they call it. Jangan tanya suruh dan jawab, tapi go to them, talk to them, interview the meaning of the phenomenon to them, what they assign. What meaning do they assign to things that you are interested in yang tak ada sangat dalam literature, and conduct interview or focus group discussion. Daripada hasil interview, analyze the interview transcription and FGD transcription, then you have a longer list of novel indicators of that phenomenon, so you can put them in the item. That's a better way, a more rigorous approach compared to you just ask them, which they may fail. Most of them will not answer, will not write the answer. Most respondents, I noticed, they'll skip the open-ended question. Am I right in your case, Doctor?
Yeah, most of them.
It's better to collect. Macam dulu pernah saya buat research on this orang asli punya perception toward the Sultan. Okay, jadi memang tak ada dalam literature, nak cari mana nak buat questionnaire dia. Jadi what our group did, we decided to go native. Kita jadi orang asli, pergi kampung dia orang, berbual, minum, makan, and then focus group discussion, interview. From there, we get rich information. What should we include in our questionnaire? Kalau you nak yang rigorous, suggestion is do this ecologically valid inquiry before you conduct a survey. That's my experience lah. Memang benda tu bagus. Buat FGD, buat interview dulu, campurkan dengan literature punya theories. And then only you create the questionnaire items. Wallahu alam.
Okay. And then another one, Prof, about the hypothetical questions. So what about if we have hypothesis in our research and we want...
Oh, that's different. Hypothesis is different. Hypothetical question means if you were a rich man...
okay.
Okay, something we are not sure whether they are rich or not. And dia pun start giving you hypothetical answer. Your data will not answer your research hypothesis.
Okay. Now I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Yeah.
You're welcome. Dah orang dapur dah siap masak ke?
Sorry, Prof. Can I ask something, Prof?
Yes, please, Dr. Mira.
Yeah. Just want to ask how important having that negative statement as a lie detector, Prof? Do we need to have that? Or it is just when you have some kind of doubt that people will just basically tick on the left hand, on the right or on the left hand side, and then if there's any some sort of anomaly in the response, you detect there's a lie. So how do we treat the response then? Shall we forfeit? So shall we treat as a void response?
Sincerely, my take is I only use lie detector when I start working on a new project, when I don't really understand about the respondents' thinking or beliefs about the subject matter. Then when I suspect bias can easily be there. So, for instance, question A, I ask, I don't know right now. For instance, in this current situation, I don't know, do people really support the present government? Or do people really want a new prime minister? I don't know. Okay. We want to know, we want to make an estimation. So that being the case, I may include lie detector because what the little thing that I know is that people are already fed up of politics in Malaysia. I'm not sure about in Indonesia, but in Malaysia, most people say they give up on politicians. So I may, because it's something that I don't really know, and I cannot conduct FGD for that. I have to have layers and groups of participants for FGD. So I may include just one lie detector in the item. For instance, the first item will be, will you support Anwar Ibrahim to be the next Prime Minister? Okay. Okay, or just a statement. Anwar Ibrahim is the 9th Prime Minister of Malaysia. I just put there. And then after down the list, I include the real items that I want to study. And then another item. Okay. We can never have an opposition leader to be the next prime minister, maybe some other time, but not the next prime minister. Now, that's when I use it to check whether the two responses to the two questions are consistent. That only I try to use when I'm in doubt. Maybe the first one may be biased. Maybe they look at my title and they think that's what I want to see in their finding. Something like this here. Okay, look at this. It's very interesting. This is what we call Hawthorne effect. Look at the enumerator here. Very fierce. And this is the question. One final question. Do you now own, or have you ever owned, a fur coat? What will the response be? Bias response. This is Hawthorne effect. The lady will give the response according to what she believes the enumerator is looking for. Is bias. So in order to avoid that, maybe we can try to strictly, procedurally, and religiously and spiritually follow the guideline in order to improve. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Prof. About the response, Prof. Sorry. So how do we treat the response if we detect this possibility?
Then in my case, if I look, I will not only look at the lie detector. I look at the patterns of response for that particular respondent. So if the only problem is with that section, then I may not include that section in the analysis. But if the respondent is simply playing around, then I'll take him out of my sample.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Prof.
Okay, I think you are not hungry.
Hungry, Prof.
Okay. What time are we supposed to meet? 2:30, right? What time is it now?
12:30.
Alhamdulillah. So we have 2 hours break. I don't know whether the manager is agreeable to this. Dr. Izawati, can we take a 2-hour break now? Assalamualaikum, Dr.
Sister
Izawati.
Salina.
Sure. Yes,
Yeah.
Prof. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for your participation. We'll meet again. I think just about 1.5 from 2:30, maybe by 4. Latest by 4:15, we'll stop. Inshallah. So thank you so much. Let's close this with Suratul As and Tasbih Kafarah.
Thank you, Prof.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you, Prof.